Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen, the utter shit show that is Marvel, the Blade reboot. The story continues. So, we have a scriptwriter denying that his script was a narrative led by women, but this individual only states a script anyway. Not only that, we also have rumours that apparently the Marvel executive behind the Blade reboot has been fired. Which, yeah, why wouldn't you fire someone that, I mean... The Blade film that's been rumoured going to be led by women, and Blade was relegated to fourth lead, and it was going to be about life lessons. That is the furthest away possible of a movie that anyone is interested in watching about Blade. If you could sit there and write me a story about Blade, that is the least likely I'm going to expect anyone to write, except if they were Marvel, of course. And Blade's really easy to do for like, I don't know, $80 million, to be perfectly honest. It's not difficult. You just do, a Raid Blade style movie. It's really simple. Or a Judge Dredd Blade style movie. It's really not that hard to do. And yet these absolute plums working for Marvel can't seem to get that. It's so bizarre. So, hit subscribe if you're new here. Turn the bell notifications on. Quick bit of a background to this. It came out as part of a massive Variety report that just confirmed everything we've been saying for God knows how long now. More specifically confirming that Blade was going to be a passing of the torch female-led movie, which I've reported on, I don't know, years ago now, to be perfectly honest. It's been a long time I've been doing these reports. So the Variety report was fantastic, although late. It vindicated a lot of what we have been saying for a very long time now. But as always, people come out and deny these things. So, it doesn't really deny it, but kind of does, but kind of doesn't. So what happened was, there was a scriptwriter, Michael Starbury, and he came out and denied that his version and previous versions of the scripts he saw featured a narrative led by women. But I just, yeah, unlikely. Unlikely. And we'll take a look at what they say specifically. But what was said in the Variety report was, one person familiar with a script permutation says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Blade was relegated to fourth lead, a bizarre idea considering that the studio had two-time Oscar winner Ali on board. And Ali was ready to exit over script issues, which is, yeah, like, we do know Mahershala Ali is pretty big on script. And he's a good actor. He's a good actor. So, this was a reaction over on Twitter. Michael Starbury said this: I worked on a draft of this before the strike. Never saw a version where Blade was fourth lead, or it was a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. But I suppose a lot could have happened since I had anything to do with it. He was in 99% of the scripts I was a part of. Now, I think what's important to note is no one said that he was not going to be in it. And you can still be a fourth lead and still be 99% in it, right? But also, this individual's not going to be privy to every single iteration of the script. Especially given how Marvel handles their production at this time. Apparently, Marvel and Disney are more than happy to keep people working on something and then just bin them off anyway. At the last minute. Without even telling them that they're fired. So, I would not put too much stock in this, that's for sure. And in a subsequent post, Starbury wrote, whatever is going on with Blade, I'm hoping for the best. Some good folks are involved in that joint. Yeah, maybe. And then someone replied, if Blade isn't about Blade, then why would we watch it? He was in almost every scene when I was involved. I don't know what happened, but I'll just say I seriously doubt he was ever the fourth lead in any draft. Yeah, I press X to doubt on that, quite frankly. Massively, because there was also the fact that there was like 2 lackluster action scenes, which you can see here from Jeff Snyder. It says, I'm told that the current Blade script is roughly 90 pages and features exactly 2 action sequences that are lackluster. Mahershala is said to be very frustrated with the process, and Feige is said to be spread too thin. But hey, that's just what sources are telling me, don't shoot the messenger. Now, you wouldn't have binned off like 4 writers, 2 directors, if there wasn't a serious issue, and then delay this consistently. There is a serious issue, and everyone's just trying to bury their head in the sand and promote the studio for some bizarre reason. Now, the same day he made this claim, a Marvel spokesman informed The Hollywood Reporter that director Bassam Tariq was departing the film. And this is the thing. Due to continued shifts in our production schedule, Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade, but will remain as executive producer on the film. We appreciate Bassam's talents and all the work he's done getting Blade to where it is. And Tariq would jump in as well and say, it's been an honour working with the wonderful folks at Marvel. We were able to put together a killer cast and crew. Eager to see where the next director takes the film. I mean, there's so many issues here. So many issues. You wouldn't have all these kind of problems. And now, allegedly, those issues have come home to roost and someone's been fired. Because he didn't sound the alarm on the film's abysmal direction. It's one of the few times that anyone has actually ever heard Kevin Feige yell at someone. Apparently. So this is pretty fascinating stuff. And mark my words, their heads will be rolling at Marvel because of everything that's happened in that report. Heads will be rolling. This is bad PR for Disney. And Disney, first and foremost, love their PR. So let's take a look at this, right? So again, this is the it was all about the Variety report, basically. I'm trying to keep my my voice in line here, guys. Sorry. Oh dear, oh dear. And this is what. So it was in light of this supposed revelation that independent film reporter Jeff Snyder would make a discovery of his own. Speaking to the topic of Blade during the November 1st episode of his and film critic John Rocha's The Hot Mic live show, Snyder informed his co-host that while he was unsure if Siegel's description of the film's current state was 100% accurate, he was aware that the executive who was working on Blade basically tried to obscure what was going to be in this draft from the film's writer, Stacey Osei-Kuffour. He either tried to intentionally obfuscate what the draft was going to entail, and another source put it as he didn't sound the alarm on the process and what trouble the project was in. So to this end, the reporter then divulged, and then they've been, I'm told, he was fired. Another source said it was parting in the ways. I pushed back against that because I'm like, who leaves Marvel, right? It's the dream job for most geek executives. I don't think a lot of people are leaving on their own accord. No, you're not going to give up a paycheck. My source said, and you know Marvel didn't comment on anything like this, but they said it's one of the few times that anyone has ever actually heard Kevin Feige yell at someone. That was the quote. We could change that to raise voice, but it was one of the few times that this individual had heard Kevin ever raise his voice. But the quote is, yell at someone. So the executive on Blade, who I'm not going to name, you can figure that out who it is no longer with Marvel, and that is confirmed. So there you go. There you go. A little bit more. Snyder also explained, it was interesting, about that executive. I called Marvel and asked to speak with the executive before going on the air with this story, and the person who answered the phone said, he's no longer with the company. And then they're like, oh wait, actually he's working somewhere else from a different location. And I was like, that was a weird thing to say. I gave that person a chance to comment and just haven't heard back prior to going on here. Bit of a weird thing, isn't it? Bit of a weird thing. Jeff Snyder would also go on to say there was pushback that it wasn't necessarily going to be 3 women. Yes, there were drafts where I think that there were strong female characters. You could call them lead characters in a sense, What is a lead and where do we draw the line? But I think in those drafts, Blade was still very much a lead character. I don't think he was relegated to the 4th lead or that the focus was on anywhere but Blade. But maybe it was Blade and, 2 strong female characters or whatever it was. But no one wants to watch a Blade movie about that, for fuck's sake. Still, no one cares. So I think that there's, truth to that element. But does that make sense to anybody that someone would get hired to write a Blade movie and Blade would be the 4th character? It does with Marvel and Disney in general. They do this all the time with their films or series. The title character is never the point of view character for the story at large. That's happened many times. I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka more recently. It just goes on and on and on. I kind of have to go with Michael Starbury on this. Especially if he's seen all the drafts, right? He ultimately argued, making reference to the name screenwriter's recent denial of Siegel's report. I don't know which writer he was in the process. I think that there are a number of 6 right now. So I don't know if he was 3 or 4 or 5. But yeah, it just seems a little far-fetched and a little outlandish. But I don't know. I don't have Tatiana's sources. I absolutely believe it. I 100% believe that he was relegated to the 4th lead. And I absolutely believe that the Marvel executive has been fired, because that bombshell Variety report will destroy people's careers at Marvel. So let me know what you think down below. Love to hear your thoughts. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.